Friends, it's Erica. Lots of updates for you. I'm going to be bringing you in this video some messages that came through in a channeled session I did yesterday that I wanted to relay to all of you, specific to what is going on in the planetary energies, the collective consciousness. The next 6 months, guys, are going to be intense. And I've done a couple videos on my channel already about this if you haven't seen them, but I want to give you this update here. And I'm also at the end of this video going to give you the update about what's going on with me and my family and our experience here, what's happening in basically ground zero of Hurricane Ian in Florida. But I'm going to save that to the end. I really want to bring forth the messages that came through. Many of you have been, and I just want to say first off, how much I appreciate all of your messages, texts, DMs, comments here in support and in prayer for all of us here that are affected by this situation. Yet it's not, this video is not going to be about that. Although it is a part of it from the standpoint of what is going on globally. Okay. So the first message that I wanted to share was something that came through as to how many of you are feeling right now. There have been, how do I say this here on this platform? Cryptically, of course. Many of you know that things are different. Many of you feel that things are different as of the last couple of weeks. And it's almost like there has been this line in the sand in the level of consciousness, in the ascension of the planet. And this can be very disconcerting and unnerving for many people, especially those of you that are energetically sensitive and tuned in. First of all, there's the galactic energies and frequencies that are bombarding Earth. There is the collective energy of the world. And then there's our own individual energies, lives, circumstances, and our own sort of inner battles that we are fighting or energies that we are dealing with personally. And so what I was shown yesterday in my session, one of the images that came through very clearly was the way that many people are feeling right now. And they gave me the analogy of when they showed me somebody walking and pacing in the waiting room of the hospital, the emergency room. It's like there's been something that's happened and a loved one is in the hospital, yet you are in the waiting room, pacing, wringing your hands, waiting to hear word. You know something's happened, but you don't know the status. You don't know when you're going to find out information. You don't know if the information is going to be good or the information is going to be bad. You're bracing yourself for the worst, but you're hoping for the best, but you're scared to hope for the best because you're bracing for the worst. You try to do things to distract yourself. You try to read, you try to watch the silly TV in the waiting room, but like you literally are restless and you cannot. Nothing you try to do to distract you works. And you don't know how long it's going to be. You don't know if you're going to hear in 5 minutes. You don't know if you're going to hear in 5 hours. You don't know what's going on. All you know is there's something happening and it's very tense and it's very nerve-wracking and you are scared. You are feeling a lack of control. You are feeling a feeling of powerlessness, uncertainty, all the emotions, right? And that is what we are all experiencing right now collectively. You may not have had a massive storm such as we did here that would be a logical reason why you would be feeling all of those types of emotions. We have been through it here physically, energetically, and spiritually. But those of you, even those of you that were not here during this situation, there's that feeling of helplessness and powerlessness that comes when you can't do anything. You want to help. I mean, I've gotten so many messages of people like, I want to do something to help. I don't know how to help. And it's that feeling of like just powerlessness over something that is a process you have no control over. Although I do have something to say about that in my separately off this channel about this, not that, about that topic, and some of you can read between the lines on that one. But you may be feeling this collectively right now, and you might be like, what the heck is going on? I don't feel like myself. I feel like things are shifting. I don't know what it is. So that is something that we are all experiencing right now. The other thing that I was shown as well is that we are in this message from Archangel Michael came through, and he explained it that he goes, we're not, he said, we are in the transition now. He said, we have been in the process of, the battle's been fought, like the light is in control of this sort of battle between light and dark, right? But it doesn't mean that the dark is eradicated. The dark still exists, and the dark is still fighting the dark energies. And while the galactics and the light are in command of this transition, it doesn't mean that there aren't any more risks or challenges that we are going to have to fight. And I say fight only because that's an analogy that humans can understand, right? We're used to fighting in battles, and I kind of hesitate to use that language because it implies that there's a force, and there's like, you have to fight, there's resistance, and what you focus on persists. We understand the universal principles around that, but it's the best analogy I can use when I'm explaining these energies, and it is limited by human language in a lot of ways. So do understand that our work here as human beings to help anchor in the light is to be in our strongest and our best. I posted yesterday on my Facebook and on Instagram a message about right now, it is imperative that we do everything in our power to stay in our light, to stay in our strength, to stay in our power, and to not get sucked into the vortex of fear, helplessness, powerlessness. We are all swimming in this, even the strongest of souls. It's like you're being caught up in a literal energetic storm of energies that you're just trying to stay afloat. And so we have to do the best that we can to stay strong, to stay positive. And sometimes that means putting up boundaries. Sometimes that means not having conversations with people. Sometimes that means shutting off all communication from the outside world to preserve yourself. And some people may be concerned that this is selfish, but it is anything but. And those of you in my Soul Growth Accelerator have heard me talk about this. I have done videos for my inner circle members about this. This is not the first time I've spoken about this, but I do want to reiterate that at this time in particular. And I remember years ago hearing a quote from Abraham Hicks during some tragedy, and it said, "You cannot feel bad enough to make somebody else feel better." And this is a time when the dark, the shadow energies, the fears, whatever you want, whatever label you want to put on it, are doing their darndest to take down, to bring people down into that. The energy of fear is what the dark feeds on. Fear, helplessness, powerlessness. And we at this time as a collective need to remember our power. And we need to literally look straight in this storm, lean into the storm and stare it right in the eye and go, "You're not taking me down." Archangel Michael was speaking of how, showing me this vision of like someone who literally was in a hurricane. And of course, they're using an analogy I can relate to right now. And facing the storm directly and leaning right into it and not letting the storm pull you back, take you off track. If you try to turn your back to it, if you try to adjust and to avoid the wind, you're going to get taken down and blown away. So this is a time not to back down and to know that the light and our strength and our love and our resilience as a collective is far stronger than any force that is deliberately trying to take down this this collective field of energy of love and of connection and of compassion. This is a time where we must recognize that this is not simply just stuff happens or stuff is happening. There are deliberate forces that are doing their darndest to take down anyone who is in their light and in their power. So I will tell you that you know, this is my personal update here at the end. But before I get into that, this is a time, guys, do whatever you can to smile, to laugh, to find the gratitude in and the blessing in even the tiniest places in your life. Because you might think that's not making a difference for the world at large, and I'm here to tell you it is making all the difference. All the difference in the world. You know, staying in your light, coming together, doing the little things to help others, doing the kind things, doing the kind things for yourself, make all the difference. So real quick, our updates. The cleanup's going to be a long time here. The other day I went out to drive somebody back to their home. They got stranded here and I drove them home, and I couldn't believe the feeling of what it feels like to see the mass devastation across everywhere you go. Homes destroyed, buildings destroyed, nature destroyed. The craziest thing that hit me the other day was when I was driving around to drop our friend off, was that every single bit of greenery was gone. You know, Florida's lush, Florida's green, Florida is Florida. And all the leaves on everything have been completely blown away. We were driving around, my daughter's like, this looks like California. You know how California is all brown and dried out and dead a lot of the year, except for a couple months of the year where we might get some rain. And it's like those types of things that are just completely unnerving, where it's like the things that you know you can count on have changed. And that is happening in the collective, not simply people affected here. You are likely feeling that in your life. I have power. I don't have air conditioning, and I don't have internet due to physical damages that are done on my home. And that's going to probably be weeks until I have that. So I have to go to my neighbor's house to be able to upload anything, to be able to get on the internet. Even my cell phone coverage, I can't get internet on my cell phone. So the communication piece is important, right? Getting information to find out what's going on, along with getting information out, doing my work. I'll have to say, I did my first video yesterday for some of you that are waiting for your readings, and it felt so good to just do something normal for just a few moments. So whatever you can do to do that in your life, I highly recommend it. But there's so much more that came through in the session yesterday, but I'm going to stop this video from being super long. Couple quick updates on me. I was just about to be relaunching my Inner Circle, my cancer prevention course, and the Inner Circle is where I'm going to start communicating a lot more things that I cannot say here. And like I said, I'm going to be moving my information, my free information, probably to other platforms. And there's many reasons why. I'm not the only one being affected by this. There have been shenanigans with, and I know some of you have heard me talk about this, with over the last many months. A lot of people that are sharing the word of the light are getting affected. It's not just me, where everything from email deliveries aren't happening, people aren't getting messages, people aren't getting notifications, people suddenly aren't able to buy courses or access to videos that they were able to before. It's like all these subtle little ways that that are happening to other people, not just myself and my work, but it has significantly affected my work and my livelihood. And I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm not going to, it has no, it thinks it might have an effect, and it's having an effect, but it's not going to take me down. Trust me on that. And I know many of you guys have reached out to me, are also facing the same situation. And I just want to say, in solidarity, I see you, I feel you, and we've got this, no doubt. We are going to pivot, we're going to adjust. We will find a way to get our message out. We will find a way to reach the people that need to hear our messages. We are going to come together in new and different ways that are not going to be able to be affected by those who are trying to control good messages from getting out. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And this isn't a matter of being pessimistic or putting a message out there. I want to say this. This should be a separate video in and of itself. But while I'm at it, this is not something where it's like, oh, you're just thinking negatively. If you think you're going to have problems, you're going to have problems. While there's a piece of that is somewhat accurate, that is also living in some element of denial about what is really happening. Because part of being able to be in your power and your strength is being in your power and your strength without ignoring the real forces that are at play here, and pretending that everything is simply completely in your control and completely in which in a lot of ways it is. And again, this is a long topic. I don't want to get into it here, but I'm going to save this for another day because this is a big topic. But I just want to be sending a message to those of you that are also experiencing this in your work. I know many of you are. I've seen many of you speak to it. And those of you that do not do this, don't think it's really real, think maybe we're exaggerating or thinking that it's not happening. I've got the numbers to prove it. Other people do too, and not that we need to prove it. But just know the awareness is number one, and then finding solutions is number two. All right, so we're going to do it. I'll leave it there. I'm rambling a little bit, but then again, that's what happens when you are sort of have been running on adrenaline for 10 days straight and you don't have your normal routines to ground yourself. So I send all my love to anyone who's been affected, whether personally, whether it's loved ones of yours, whether it's simply as someone who is empathic and feels things. Remember, stay in your light, stay in your power. We've got this. The dark ain't got nothing on the light. And it's only, if anything, fueling and fortifying our strength to continue to be in our light and to do what we can in our lives to make this world a better place. So with that, guys, I send you so much love. And if there is something that you would like to do, guys, scroll through, watch some of my old videos, get some support. If you feel called to get an extended reading, it would help tremendously. If there's any time that you feel like called to do that, this would be so appreciated, because this is a massive disruption. It is it's been difficult. So without getting into details and without getting into specifics, anything that you can do to support anyone affected in small little ways, I can tell you that's what makes all the difference in the world. Whether it's a like, whether it's a comment of support, whether it's getting an extended reading, whether it is sharing someone's video or a message of inspiration, whatever way you feel called, all of that is a way that we strengthen and come together as beings of light. And there may be some tears in that blanket right now, some disruptions in that blanket of connectivity, literally even with internet connections and worldwide connections and communications. But this is how we rebuild that web, that blanket, that tapestry of light and of empowerment. And I love you guys. I appreciate you. And stay tuned for updates. And until next time, bye.